So you know Vladimir Putin. You think he's a killer?
I do.
So what price must he pay?
The price he's going to pay, well, you'll see shortly. We had a long talk, he and I. I know him relatively well. And the conversation started off, I said, I know you and you know me. If I establish this occurred, then be prepared.
You said you know he doesn't have a soul.
Well, I did say that to him, yes. And his response was, we understand one another.
That was President Biden back in March, and he will be able to deliver that message directly to Russian President Vladimir Putin next month. The two leaders will meet in Geneva on June 16th, the White House announced yesterday. The meeting comes at a time when the relationship between the two world powers has grown tense. Even more so, President Biden imposed new sanctions on Russia last month for interference in U.S. elections and the hacking of American tech company SolarWinds. This was after Biden called Putin a killer. The Russian president responded to the sanctions at an annual address in April, where he warned the West against crossing what he called Russia's red line. Joining us now, chairman of the Renew Democracy Initiative, former world chess champion Garry Kasparov. Garry, good morning. It's good to see you. So you are against this meeting. You say it offers Vladimir Putin too much. It puts him on the stage with the world's great power. Why specifically do you think Joe Biden should not hold this meeting with Putin?
Because America has nothing to gain out of this meeting, and the only value is for Putin. Face-to-face meeting with Joe Biden, the leader of the free world, proves that Putin is still the big boss. That's the message that Putin desperately needs to send to his cronies and henchmen, because after Biden called him a killer, and after a very strong statement that you just aired, Putin's reputation was shattered. Dictator needs to demonstrate to his country and to the rest of the world the aura of invincibility. And there's nothing that America can gain out of this meeting. And we can see that Putin keeps, raising stakes and making statements that he would continue increasing this tension with the free world, and we will continue this hybrid war. So far, everything Putin did, from annexation of Crimea and many other crimes, backing Assad and use of chemical weapons in Syria, shutting down the Malaysian airliner in 2014, and now backing a Belarusian dictator Lukashenko, who just committed act of international gangsterism by landing a European flight in Minsk and kidnapping an opposition journalist. It's all went unpunished. And the meeting in Geneva will just confirm to Putin that if he keeps raising the stakes, America and Europe will always fold the cards.
So, Garry, what is it about Vladimir Putin that American presidents underestimate? Look across the 21st century during his presidency. George W. Bush, seen as a hawk on most fronts, said he had looked into his eyes and saw his soul. Mitt Romney was mocked roundly by Barack Obama by identifying Russia as a major geopolitical threat. Donald Trump obviously deferred to Vladimir Putin in Helsinki and just about every other chance he got, even saying he trusted the ex-KGB agent more than he trusted our intel community at that Helsinki press conference. What is it about Putin that our presidents always seem to underestimate, to get wrong?
I would not bring them all together. So Trump is a separate story, and I don't want to us wasting time, talking about Trump's strange relations to Putin. It's very different from other U.S. presidents. You mentioned George W. Bush, but what he said happened in 2001. While he was dead wrong on evaluating Putin, he had very little data yet to rely on. But
in 2008, though, Vladimir Putin invaded Georgia. So he invaded a country while Bush was president. He invaded Ukraine while Barack Obama was president. They obviously, again, and it's so easy for me to sit in the cheap seats in 2021 and judge all of these presidents. I understand they were trying to find common ground with him. And yet it seems to me we can look back and look at those examples as warnings for the future.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we're in 2021. You just made this very important point. And if we had any doubts in 2001, I didn't, but Bush could have. If in 2008, you could find some excuses for war against Georgia, I didn't. But after annexation of Crimea, after Putin was so consistent in violating international law and demonstrating that he's above it, and what's happening now, you look at Belarus, and I think it's very important to mention that Lukashenko would have never done that without Putin's backing. So now offering Putin a meeting with no agenda, there's nothing to discuss. And also you mentioned sanctions. But at the same time, America basically gave a green light for Nord Stream 2. So putting Europe at Russia's mercy for gas supply, because I understand Biden didn't want to spoil relations with Germany. His policy is probably to rebuild relations with European allies, but it's happening at the cost of Ukrainians and Eastern European allies that are very, very concerned about Putin's growing strengths and his bellicose policies.
Mike Barnicle's with us and has a question for you, Gary.
So, Gary, I don't think anyone listening to you would quibble or take any issue with any of the litany of autocratic outrages that belong to Vladimir Putin that the world has witnessed. But in this case, this meeting that is going to take place on June 16th between President Biden and President Putin, is it not going to be the first time that President Putin is going to meet a president of the United States who arguably has more diplomatic experience and diplomatic knowledge of who he's confronting in Putin than any of the prior three American presidents combined? Joe Biden has been around a long time. He is a tough guy. Isn't it about time that a sitting president of the United States looked eyeball to eyeball with Vladimir Putin and said basically, stop. Enough is enough.
Yeah, it's very nice to say stop. He already called him a killer. He doesn't need a meeting, a high-level summit with Vladimir Putin, with a Russian dictator, by the way, not a president, to confirm it. There's nothing that America will gain out of this meeting. No matter what Biden says, Putin doesn't care. Dictators do not care about words. They care about actions. So far, you look at the actions, and they're way, way, way behind the words. It's time to walk the walk. Biden already did the talk, and this meeting will not add much to Putin's knowledge of America. It will just convince him that if he keeps pushing, so he'll get whatever he wants.
No. So Gary, let's change the subject pretty dramatically. So Mika and I saw the Queen's Gambit, absolutely loved it, and it inspired me to get my youngest son to the chessboard and teach him to play a little bit. And so we go back and forth. I understand you were a consultant, and actually you had been offered a role there, but didn't do it. Yes. Decided not to take that role. I'm just curious, if I want to teach my children to play chess more effectively, what do I do?
Oh, it's you introduce them to the game. That's already the first step, and the rest, it depends whether they have interest of becoming not professional chess players, but more involved with the game. And there's so many options now.
I just want them to be able to beat their dad and love the game. And don't you have? Somebody told me you actually have a program, don't you?
No, I just launched Kasparov Chess, the platform. It's a joint project, French-American project. It's the French giant Vivendi and St. Louis backed Grand Chess Tour. So and I believe that this program will offer unique opportunities to study chess, to become part of this global chess community, and it's also based on very much on the idea to entertain. Educational should be entertaining, and I think that it's no matter how strong you are, no matter what experience you have in chess, you'll find an opportunity to enjoy and be educated on KasparovChess.com.
So so KasparovChess.com. So let me just ask you a historical question. It seems to me, as I read through history, a lot of great leaders were obsessed with chess. A lot of geopolitical titans. And Mika's father absolutely loved chess. We have a big picture. I want to send it to you. I have a big picture of Dr. Brzezinski and Menachem Begin playing chess at Camp David, and they were trying to sort of, break the tension. And Begin, then the prime minister of Israel, comes up and he looks at the chess set. He goes, "Chess, I haven't played this in years."
40 years.
So 40 years. So they start playing, and in the middle of the third game, Begin's wife has the poor timing of coming up, and he goes, "Oh, I'm so glad you're playing chess. Menachem plays it every day and loves it." But talk about, if you will, just what is it about chess that helps people think more critically, and why have a lot of leaders, world leaders, played chess in the past?
Now, I cannot, reveal the secret of the game of chess and its popularity that survived centuries, in few words. But it seems to me that it's never-ending attraction. And even today, at a time when we have so many other temptations, online, so chess, has been steadily gaining ground. You mentioned political leaders. I can say that, in so many Hollywood movies, the way to show the power of the intellect of a character, was to bring a chessboard. It's Humphrey Bogart in Casablanca, Steve McQueen in the first Thomas Crown Affair, one of the James Bond antagonists, Kronstein in From Russia with Love, even John Wayne playing chess in McClintock. So it seems to me that chess has this aura of it's a combination of intellect and psychology that attracts people. And